All right, and the last topic we're going to cover today is going to be on credit cards. So specifically, I'm going to be looking at some credit cards that are, in my opinion, really good for the average person. And what we're going to be looking at is let's set up a credit card system, essentially, where we have, cards for gas, dining, groceries, travel, and then, everything else, right? And I want to look at how to set that up because everyone should be using a credit card over a debit card. There's no reason to use a debit card, in my opinion. Credit cards are far better. I've got other videos talking about why, but you need to in order to build your credit card score anyway, so you might as well. And on top of that, oftentimes they're going to give you money back, whether that's in percentage points, cash back, travel rewards. It's so worth it. There's no reason not to. And to give you an idea of what I'm talking about, when you sign up for a credit card, oftentimes if you hit a certain spending limit, then they'll give you a bonus. And then also when you do spending on certain categories, they'll give you money back on every dollar spent. And to give you an idea of, this is not a small amount of money we're talking about. To give you an idea, last year as an example, with Chase bonuses, not even talking about spending points, just bonuses, just sign-up bonuses, I got about $3,000 just from Chase, right, in sign-up bonuses. And all it takes is signing up for credit cards selectively, making sure that they're not ones that have high annual fees that are going to bite you, and making sure that you are responsibly able to pay those off in time so it doesn't end up costing you money. Very important caveat. So going forward, we're going to be talking about this from the perspective of if you are paying off the credit card before the monthly bill is due every month, and we're going to assume you are not carrying any interest on these, definitely make sure to look at the interest rate if you're ever going to do that. And overall, if you don't have to, never carry over charges on a credit card. That being said, I want to talk about how to simplify this for people and talk about some of the best credit cards around right now that have low or no annual fees. And the reason it's important to look for cards that either have no annual fees or you're able to product change to a card with no annual fee is because you don't want to cancel credit cards because it will hurt your credit score. You want to keep credit cards because the average age of credit card history is going to factor into your credit score, and we want that to be as long as possible. Canceling cards hurts that score. So everything in this is going to either be have no annual fee or downgrade to a card with no annual fee. So for the first section, we have a gas card. So gas cards, we all, unless we use public transport in, New York or some city that has good public transport, unlike LA, we all spend money on gas. And gas cards, generally speaking, historically, the goal is to get 5% back on a credit card for gas. And right now, there's only one main credit card that I could find that has no annual fee that does that, and that is the PenFed Platinum Rewards Visa Signature Card. Currently, they get 5% back on gas and 3% on groceries, which is really good. The 5% on gas is the best you're going to find without an annual fee. And to give you perspective, that's basically if you spend, say you spend $40 on a tank of gas, you're going to get $2 of that back. So it's not a ton, but it's $2 more than you would have gotten with a debit card. So keep that in mind. On top of the no annual fee, what's really nice is that you get $100 cash back after you spend $1,500 on it within 90 days. The one caveat is that it takes excellent credit in order to get, so you got to have a pretty high credit score. For most people, now, while that's the best percent-wise, personally, I think most people, what they should look at getting is the Wells Fargo Propel American Express card. So the Wells Fargo Propel American Express, it only gets you 3% back on gas, but it also gets you 3% back on ride shares, public transit, travel, and some streaming services. It has no annual fee, and it gives you 20,000 points, which is $200 roughly, after $1,000 spend in 90 days. So it's a pretty sweet one. And with a low minimum spend of $1,000 in 3 months, you should be able to make that. And if you are looking for ways to make that, we'll talk about minimum spends and ways to hit that. But as an example, when I'm looking to make a minimum spend amount, because I'm not going to spend, several $1,000s in 3 months, I usually do it by just paying for my rent with a credit card through a secondary service. The service that I prefer is plastic, and I'll talk about that later. The main thing, though, the reason I say for the Wells Fargo Propel is that it's a really good card overall. It only needs good credit score. So we're talking about, generally speaking, if you're around 700, you'll probably get it, which means it's a little bit more accessible, and it has no foreign transaction fees. So it's actually not a bad card for travel as well, if you want to minimize the amount of cards you have for whatever reason. The next segment is dining and groceries. So with this, generally speaking, 4% is the goal. You're looking at cards like the Capital One Saver, but that has an annual fee, and I don't want to pay an annual fee for this. So what's even better is you don't have to. You can get the Chase Freedom Unlimited. So the Chase Freedom Unlimited is awesome. It's a no annual fee credit card. It only takes good credit, so most people will qualify for it after, successfully making payments on, a secured credit card and or maybe one other credit card. But you should be able to get this pretty early in your credit journey, which is great. It gets you 5% back on groceries, and that excludes Target and Walmart, but 5% back on groceries during your first year on up to $12,000 spend, which I don't know how you would spend that much on groceries personally, unless you have a football team that you feed. And then it gives you back 3% on dining, food delivery, and drugstores. So pretty solid overall. Not quite 4%, but that's pretty good. Averaged out, I personally spend way more on groceries than I do on dining and food delivery. So for me, it's a pretty good option. And then you get 1.5 percentage points back on all other purchases. And something to keep in mind is if you're going to get one of Chase's travel credit cards, like the Chase Sapphire Preferred or Reserved, you'll even get more points because of the 25% and 50% multipliers that the Preferred and the Reserve have. It comes with no annual fee, and it's gives you $200 back after only $500 spent in 90 days, which is pretty great. When you're looking at that's just free money. So overall, that's one of the best cards that you can get, in my opinion, right now. Now, to move on and add on to that with travel credit cards. So for me, the best travel credit card, and the one that I have, is the main one that I have is the Chase Sapphire Preferred. And when you're looking at travel cards, you generally want about 3% to be your goal, 2 to 3%, just better than a 2% everyday card. And the Chase Sapphire Preferred, it gives you 2x back, but with a Chase Sapphire Preferred, if you use those points for travel within Chase's portal instead of cash back, you get about 25% more on those points. So what this means is that instead of 2% when redeemed for travel, it's 2.5%. So a little bit better. Also, if you have the Chase Freedom Unlimited, like I was just talking about, instead of getting 1.5% back on it, when you transfer those points over to the Chase Preferred, those become 1.875 points. So almost 2%. Pretty great. Well, that's a really big reason to have the Chase Sapphire Preferred. For me at least, because you're getting then effectively 2.5% back on travel and dining. It's increasing the amount of Chase points you have, both bonus accrual points and just credit card reward points. That's pretty worth it. It does have a $95 annual fee, which is definitely something to keep in mind. But within the first year, you'll get 80,000 points if you spend $4,000 in 90 days. And again, the way I do this is by paying for my rent with it. Or the way I did it was by paying for my rent with it. And those 80,000 points, that's between $800 and $1,000 worth of value. $800 if it's cash, $1,000 if it's redeemed for travel. That's pretty dope. That definitely covers that $95 annual fee for at least 8 years before I'm, paying more than I'm getting. That's pretty dope. And that's not even including the rewards. It also Similar to the Wells Fargo Propel, it has no foreign transaction fees, which any travel card you would want should have. It only takes good credit, so most people will qualify. You also get $0 delivery fee for 12 on DoorDash orders of $12 or more, which is pretty cool. You get 5x points back on Lyft through March of 2022. And then the main reason to have it, in my opinion, is that you have rental car protection, trip cancellation, bag delay insurance when you pay for any of those things with this card. And that is a game changer because you should never be paying for rental car insurance, and it just makes your life a lot easier. And a lot more, it's just a lot more peace of mind. They also give an extended warranty for an additional year on all U.S. manufacturers, which is another big reason to have a card like this and well worth the $95, in my opinion. Especially when you consider that, say, as an example, when you buy a cell phone, if you were to buy a cell phone insurance plan through like T-Mobile or Verizon, it's usually going to cost you around $120 per year. This is $95. And yeah, it's only for the first, it's only adding a year to that, but that's a better deal than paying for the 120. And then just after that expires, pay for the insurance. Big brain. That's the way to do it. And get around it. And then the other thing it does is it does purchase protection for 120 days against damage or theft. And basically what that is say you buy something and you find out that you jumped on it too early and it's less expensive somewhere else. If it's past the return policy, then Chase will basically pay for it for you to return, which is pretty dope. I've never used it because I'm not very high maintenance, but it's pretty dope to have. And the other key thing to remember that's really important is if you want a little bit more of a premium card, you can always upgrade the Chase Sapphire Preferred to the Chase Sapphire Reserved, or you can always downgrade it to a Freedom card if you don't want to pay that $95 annual fee without losing your points. So it's a really great card. And in my opinion, it's the best one out there for personal cards as far as the bonus and everything else that's included. The backup option for travel cards would be the Venture Rewards from Capital One. That one gives you an unlimited 2x miles on everything, which is pretty dope. You get 50,000 miles or $500 after 3,000 spend in 90 days. So not as juicy as the Chase one, but lower spending, minimum spend, same $95 annual fee. It takes higher credit it takes a higher credit score though. So that's why, again, prefer the Chase Sapphire Preferred. But one thing that is really good about the Capital One is if you don't have TSA PreCheck, which lasts for 5 years, costs around $100. If you don't have TSA PreCheck, which makes your life really easy when you go to the airport, it will give you credit for TSA PreCheck. So if you don't have TSA PreCheck yet, what I would do is I would go ahead and get the Capital One card, the Capital One Venture Rewards, and then I would downgrade it after the first year to probably the no annual fee Venture One card. And then I would just go ahead and apply for the Chase Sapphire Preferred. And then that way I got the TSA PreCheck that'll last me 5 years and more points. So that's what I would do personally. Again, it has no foreign transaction fees, and it gives you 5x miles with Uber Eats. So pretty similar cards overall. But again, Chase, you're getting $300 to $500 worth more of value on the bonus. It's a no-brainer, but I would get both personally. Just spread it out a little bit over time so I'm not being too excessive. If you wanted a little more premium of a card, and for a travel card, and the only reason I would do this is if you really needed, you really wanted to have lounge access at the airport, which is dope as hell. It's amazing because basically when you go to a city, if there's a lounge at the airport, instead of having to wait in the airport terminal, which we all know sucks horribly, you can go to this lounge where basically you go in, they've got usually hot food, they've got drinks, both alcoholic and not, they got tea, coffee, places to lounge around, like couches, reading areas. It's pretty awesome to have. Yeah, it's dope, especially if you're going to do some traveling. This year, obviously, I didn't do any traveling really, so it wasn't. I downgraded and did not use my Chase Sapphire Reserve, but it could be something that's important. That's good for you if you're someone that likes that. These, of course, come with higher annual fees. Talking, $550, which is pretty steep, but they usually get very close to paying for themselves. If you actually look at the numbers, I'll do some breakdowns on them later. But generally speaking, the ones I would suggest are either the Chase Sapphire Reserve, which is better overall for most people. They use Priority Pass lounges, which generally speaking are more common in the United States at least. And they tend to be better as far as the airlines that you can use those points for. And they have better downgrade options because you can always downgrade to Freedom cards, the Chase Sapphire Preferred. So that's the one I would pick for most people, but it depends on who you fly with. If you fly with Delta more, I highly would suggest getting the Delta Sky Miles Reserve American Express card. And it's because if you fly with Delta, you generally have to use the Delta Sky Lounges. And there aren't very many Centurion lounges, which is the other option with Amex. And Delta Sky Lounges are way better than Priority Pass lounges, at least in my experiences. So just depends. And they do have a downgrade option as well to a no annual fee card. So again, that's why I would choose that one. I would not get the Amex Platinum, which is the alternative, because it only downgrades to either a $250 annual fee card with the Amex Gold or a $150 annual fee card with the Amex Green. And I'm not getting stuck with any card that I have to pay a fee for the rest of my life. That's for the birds. Now, for an everything spend card. So this is looking at what card am I going to use on everything else, right, that I spend. This is just my go-to. Generally speaking, historically, 2% is the goal. The best ones I can find right now, 2% you're going to get on the Citi Double Cash or the Discover It card. But personally, I would say it's better just to get the Chase Freedom Unlimited. Again, you're getting almost 2% on all purchases when you consider if you have either the Chase Sapphire Preferred or the Chase Sapphire Reserve. You're getting that $200 bonus after 500 spend in 90 days, plus the 5% on groceries and the 3% on dining. If you're wanting to have something that's very uncomplicated for you to worry about, to me, that's the move, personally. So if you were to ask me what is, pick three, right? And let's say you're going to apply for one, every 2 to 3 months over the next, little while. The three that I would go to are the Chase Freedom Unlimited first, because it's the easiest one out of these three to get. And, that's your one for everyday spending. Get that $200 bonus, no annual fee. It's a great card. Then I would go ahead and get the Wells Fargo Propel or the Chase Sapphire Preferred. I think that the Wells Fargo Propel is really good. I like the fact that it gives you a bonus, and it's an Amex card. So if you want to have Amex as opposed to just Visa cards, that's always a good thing to have. A little bit of variety depending on whether places accept Amex, MasterCard, or Visa. But I would definitely go with that, and then the Chase Sapphire, either Preferred or Reserve. I personally don't see that any travel cards are better than those unless you specifically fly with Delta. And then I think the Delta Sky Miles cards are the best for that. So again, those three would be Wells Fargo Propel, American Express, Chase Sapphire Preferred or Reserve, and the Chase Freedom Unlimited. With those three, you're going to get most of the benefits that you would want out of, an infinite amount of credit cards. So if you're wanting to limit it, those would be the three I would go for right now. And overall, what this is going to do for you is with these three cards, you'd be looking at, and assuming you went with the Preferred, not the Reserve, you'd be looking at only paying $95 in annual fees. And you'd be getting between $1,200 and $1,400 in bonuses, depending on whether you exchange those Chase points for, for travel or for cash. That is pretty awesome, especially when you consider that means that worst case, if you wanted to, you pay the $95 annual fee the first year, and then you downgrade the preferred to the Freedom card, then you essentially paid $100 to make $1,400. That's always worth it in my book. Now, for meeting the minimum spend, again, I don't spend enough to make a lot of these minimum spends for credit cards. The way that I do that is I pay my rent with it. And I specifically use a company called Plastic. It's a third party service. And basically, what they do is, since oftentimes landlords will not take a credit card because of the transaction fees, what you can do is you basically pay this third party service, and then they write a check and mail it to that landlord. To do this, they charge a 2.85% fee, which, yes, that sucks. But the thing to keep in mind is that, say I'm trying to meet the $4,000 spend on the Chase Sapphire Preferred, and I would not make that otherwise, that 2.85% of that is $114, right? So it's going to cost me $114, but I'm going to get $1,000 from it. So I'm still gaining $886. It just depends. You got to look at what you're comfortable with. But for me, that's a no-brainer. And definitely check out one of my other videos I did talking about how to pay your rent with a credit card through Plastic. And that'll have a detailed breakdown of how to do it. And there are links below describing all of this so that you can look at these for yourself and see what's best for you. But definitely be getting credit cards and making sure that you're, as long as you're paying them responsibly, they're going to help your credit score, which is something we all need to work on. If you enjoyed this clip, be sure to leave a like, subscribe, and check out the full live version of the Wealth for 99 podcast, where we talk finance, economics, and public policy from a working class perspective. We'll see you there.